Hey everybody, and welcome to the second episode of the Premodern Showdown Series 2. I'm Michael Hoyp. I'm joined tonight by Flint Espil. Say hi, Flint.
Hi, everybody.
And tonight you can see that we have our remaining four players playing their first match. We have Andy Culpepper facing off against Robin in our first match, and then at the late night match we have Anthony Harrison taking on Phil Nguyen. So, what are you expecting to see tonight, Flint?
Um, well, I'm expecting to see more creative magic. I'm excited for this first match. I don't know when we're going to reveal the bands. Well, I'll probably hold off for that in for a minute. But I'm excited to see potentially some creature decks go head to head, and then in the second match, perhaps some shenanigans, some very spicy shenanigans.
Yeah.
So
All
that's
right.
what I'm
So
looking forward to.
I'll bring up the band list that we have. So, looking at the decks that Andy brought to this tournament, he has a mono blue pirates deck, which is it's the pirates of the Mercadian Mask era. They make your opponent sacrifice permanents when they come into play unless they pay a certain amount of mana. And then he has the Sliv Deuce deck, which is a red, green, and white aggro deck. It's kind of similar to the Three Deuce deck of old. And then Wild Zombies is the last deck that Andy has brought, and you can see that that one was chosen to be banned by Robin. So Andy is not able to bring that one tonight. So if that was the deck you're looking forward to see, you'll have to tune in another week. Robin, the decks that he brought is Oath of Clerics, which is an aggressive mono black cleric deck with Oath of Ghouls, but then also has the Dark Supplicant, which can get the Scion of Darkness. And then the blue, white, red wizards, and that is kind of held together by Patron Wizard, which is a 3 mana 2/2 that can tap any wizard to force spike a spell. And then finally, the Pox deck from Robin, the mono black disruptive discard um, deck. That one has been banned by choice of Andy, so Robin will not be bringing that tonight. So the decks that the players have decided, Andy has settled on bringing Pirates, and then Robin has decided to bring the Oath of Ghouls deck. So let's take a look at those lists, and we can discuss a little bit further. Okay, so this Pirates list, what is going on here? As I mentioned a little before, is it has a lot of creatures in it, but it's not your typical try and attack with creatures. It's looking to play these creatures and use their ability, their come into play effect, and make their opponent sacrifice permanents. And then we see a lot of bounce spells, which can either double as slowing down your opponent, returning a creature or a permanent to your hand to your opponent's hand to slow them down, but then it also has the added benefit of mounting your own creature so that you're able to replay it and use that ability. So it's kind of like a prisony sacrifice tempo interesting deck. So what do you look to see out of the mono blue pirates?
I mean, it's looking pretty good. And as you're talking about it, I'm just imagining all these various scenarios where you bounce pirates, but also, I mean, how cool would it be to, bounce boomerang your own tangle wire back to your hand at the end of the opponent's turn and then replay it and lock them out even further. I mean, I think there's some cool synergies here. I'm excited to see how this deck does.
Yeah. All right, and then from Robin we have the Oath of Clerics deck. So this deck looks kind of similar to the one of the decks that Robin had in the original Pre-Modern Showdown series. He had a zombies list, and this one is using. There is a crossover because a lot of those zombies are clerics: the Shepherd of Rot, the Withered Wretch,
Yep.
and the Rotling Reanimator. But he's opted for other clerics like Dark Supplicant, Priest of Gix, um, and then there are some copies of Braid's Cabal Minion for a disruptive element. So, what's your take on this mono black Oath of Clerics deck?
I think I mentioned this in the podcast we were on, but it really reminds me of a kitchen table magic deck that a friend of mine, shout out to Jeremy if you're watching, used to run back in the day that was actually quite powerful. So we deemed it different enough to be able to run, but I do think that this deck can do some really strong things. It's also interesting, I think, in this matchup that we're seeing these two tribes that haven't really had a chance to shine yet in the pre-modern online monthlies, and I'm almost trying to build like a narrative around it. Like maybe there's a bunch of like Quaker clerics in a boat trying to cross the ocean, and these pirates attack, and then they realize they're in for more than they bargained for. I don't know. There's a story here. We need Sean Sullivan to create a tournament with some of this flavor, but
All right. Looks like our players are nearly ready. Flint, if you want to let them know that they can start. We have Andy on the left. He'll be with the Pirates deck. He is on the play. He won the die roll. And then Robin is on our right.
all right, they should be starting shortly. I let them know.
Okay, so looks like both players have mulliganed once, and they'll be putting that card at the bottom. And let me bring up my card fetcher so that we can show you guys some of the cards that they'll be playing. So it just starts with an island. There are a couple of or some ancient tombs in Andy's deck, and those can accelerate out the pirates, and that might be a key part if to keep ahead of this fast aggro deck.
Are we going to see the turn one Cabal Therapy?
Uh,
Oh, Dark Ritual.
there's still hope, I guess.
Duress.
Okay, so what are we seeing? Looks like a Masticore, a Daze, a Chain of Vapor, and 2 islands. So, you thinking Daze or you thinking Chain of Vapor?
Good question. Maybe days, depending on what he wants to ramp out here afterward. He's got a 2-drop.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm gonna try and it looks like our chat isn't showing up on stream. I'm gonna try and see if I can figure that out.
All right. Well, I will keep an eye on the game. So he does take the days.
Okay.
And there's a Withered Wretch. Makes sense. All right. All right. So we see Island. Um, Andy just looked at a card in his hand. I think he showed it to the camera. He's got to be a little careful with how he looks at those, but he does play it out. It is a black vice.
Okay. Uh,
And then we are going to see the Chain of Vapor on the Wretch. So he still gets the tempo play out of it. Gabe in chat notes that maybe the chain was the better option because it's the tempo play. But Days does that as well, I suppose. All right. So there's a Wasteland and an Oath of Ghouls from Robin. Really cool card.
so the one thing is Andy does have a number of creature cards, I guess. So there's a potential that he might be able to trigger that, but I guess Robin's probably winning if that's the case.
Yeah, probably. So Robin here running out a Shepherd of Rot.
Yes. So this is a way that Robin can deal a lot of damage, but then also it has the ability to deal damage out of combat, which can be important in a number of
Unless your
matches.
opponent plays a Masticore.
Yeah, sure. Uh,
Looks like the life totals are Andy at 18 and Robin at 20.
okay.
Tapped his Ancient Tomb there. So Rattling Reanimator, really strong card here from Robin. If you haven't played with it, folks, it's a very, very powerful cleric.
Yeah, and the Shepherd Rod is a cleric. I mean, obviously, a lot of the creatures that that Robin is playing are clerics, so he would get a 2/2 zombie if that gets shot down by a Masticore.
We got some love for Rattling in chat here. Robin's going to pass. Looks like he decides to. Did he duress a black vice there?
Yeah.
No. So Andy's going to take another 2 and go down to 16. What? So he's going to shoot the Rotlung Reanimator? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, it looks like he used 4 mana. So he's tapped the Ancient Tomb, so he's at 16. And then that will replace the Rotling Reanimator and now becomes a 2/2 zombie.
Got it.
But
Sorry, CS Magic Altars. You'll get blocked by old Nightbot if you put too many emojis in the chat. We got to fix that.
get wasted. That's that's what Robin says. That's always a good way to rub it in. Okay, so down to 12 Andy is, and Robin's at 14. What do you take the damage from?
Maybe missed core attack. I don't know. I missed it.
I mean, it
All right.
might have been an activation of the Shepherd of Rot. But yeah, I'm
Yeah,
still
14, 12.
I'm still trying to troubleshoot. I don't know why the chat isn't showing up on screen, but I don't know if I'll be able to fix that right now. Maybe in between matches, then I can do it. But
Hey, welcome 90s MTG. We got some spicy pre-modern for you all tonight.
we have arrived. That's what they said. Bringing the whole gang. Raid of 98 people. So
oh my.
that's quite a few. What format were you guys playing before you guys came here? But we'll try to keep you up to speed with what Premodern is. So Premodern is a format that is between Ice Age and Scourge. So pretty much all the old bordered sets, with the exception of some of the old ones, are not included. And it's kind of similar to an old extended, if you're familiar with that format. And the cool thing about it is there are a ton of viable decks. And in this league, we have the players, we've encouraged them to build spicy decks. So these aren't necessarily the decks you might see if you're playing in the online pre-modern tournaments that are on our Facebook groups, but they should be a blast. We could see some real cool interactions between these decks. I'll catch up on life totals.
Yeah,
Looks like
so we got pirates versus clerics going on right now. So far, pretty tale as old as time, with lots of creatures doing what creatures do best. It looks like Robin's definitely ahead on board here. Andy's at 5. Robin's at 7.
mm-hmm. And one thing that I guess we didn't talk about is the though it's not in play right now anymore. The Shepherd of Rot can draw a game, which it could be an interesting situation if we end up having to play an additional game because of a draw. Okay, so Massacre is trying to keep control of the creatures, but
Yeah, it's
the Othaghuls
game over. Yep.
really just kept things going, because when they're trying to remove things and he's getting the free 2/2 zombie, it was a little bit too much for Andy to keep up with.
Yep.
All right, so let's jump over to our sideboard.
So yes, if you're just joining us, you get to take a peek at the decks here too, so you kind of see what these guys are running.
All right, so what are interesting cards out of the Pirates deck that he could bring in? I mean, that game we saw the interaction with the graveyard, but I don't know if Tormod's Crypts pulls enough weight. I mean, maybe it's Maybe there's cards that you don't think are very effective, but in general, I don't think Tormod's Crypt is the best thing to do against the Oath of Clerics deck. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, he's so Oath of Ghouls was a big deal there, right? Does he have
mhm.
any other graveyard related strategies? Cabal Therapy, Flashback.
All right. The thing about someone suggesting that Tormod's Crypt instead of Black Vice, uh, if you don't have those, like Black Vice is, I think, just ideally some of the ways that he is able to chip in some damage, and I think the games go a lot longer if you don't have those Vice draws. I pulled up the Oath of Clerics deck. I'm just looking to see because there are nulls in the sideboard. I don't know if, but if it's
Yeah,
only the
that's what I was
two, if
wondering.
it's only the two Oath of Ghouls, don't think that's enough. I
I mean,
mean,
he's got a Grave Pact and a Contamination
and
in his
Engineered
board.
Plague. How many of the pirates have one toughness?
It's a
Um,
fair point. A null might be the way to go.
I think just the smallest one is a 1/1. I think it's a 2/2, and then I don't know if it's a 2/2 or a 3/3. I think the other ones are 2/2s. But you still might expect to see Engineered Plague.
Yeah, I mean, Contagion could be good as well if it hits the board. I mean, Robin's got or Andy has a lot of bounce, certainly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can always add mana and then bounce it. But I mean, there are a fair number of enchantments that Robin could potentially play against him, so a null might be the way to do it, especially since he's on the play and can play an island with an null in his opening hand.
Yeah, okay. So Footpad is a 2/2, so
Okay. What about Robin? What do you think here? What does Robin want to bring in?
uh I don't know. I'm trying to think if any of his cards seem bad, and none of them seem particularly bad. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Like, and nothing seems like a really big upgrade. I mean, the discard spells are fine, but they're. I mean, I'm trying to think how many duress targets there are. I don't know. This is tricky.
Do you like Grave Pact here at all? So if Andy tries the pirate strategy and Robin has to sack a creature, then Andy has to sack a creature. You think that's too cute? Or if Robin kills, one of his creatures, or excuse me, if Andy kills one of his clerics with a Masticore, then Andy has to sack a creature.
Yeah, it seems fine. I mean, there's only one. It's not like you're bringing a bunch of them and you're going to draw too many of them. So there's creatures in the deck and they're kind of slow. So I think yeah, I guess it's reasonable to bring in a Great Pact. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if we can figure out what the players are deciding how they want to board.
Should I let them know that they can start whenever they're
Sure.
ready?
Yep.
All right, will do. All right, so it looks like 90s MTG was playing a little Legacy.
All right.
Excellent. All right, Comical Flop says Great Pact is too cute. Fair enough.
Too cute.
Fair enough.
Trying to figure out why the chat box doesn't show up on this screen, but it does on all the other scenes, and I am not sure.
Technical difficulties. They don't happen often here on the Premodern Showdown Series, but they do happen. Better cute than good. Fair enough. This is our spicy series, not our spiky series. So, maybe you go for the Grave Pact. So I'm guessing Andy's keeping
Yeah. If he's looked
because
at his hand, yeah, then
yeah, he'll be on the play, right?
yeah. So is Robin sending it back, or did he just never? Did he never draw his opening hand?
Yeah, it looks like Robin sending him back. Mighty Penguin 007. Equipment's pretty simple, just a webcam, and you can get like a tripod or you can use like a mic stand or a camera stand. They're like 10, $14. It's just like an arm that you can attach to your desk, and you can attach your camera to that. Some people even put the cameras on top of their monitors, or they'll angle their laptops, but really just a play mat, a camera, and then most of the games are played on Whereby or um, other platforms. Well, there's an online Facebook group. It's Premodern Online Play. So join that if you're interested. And people will help you out with all kinds of setups on there too if you have more questions. What was the crazy setup? Someone used like a hockey stick suspended over two piles of books with a phone like on the hockey stick or
Yeah,
something,
I have
I
heard of
think.
that. Or like people have used like contraptions that they built kind of like out of smaller PVC pipes, or people have used like cardboard boxes and cut out holes and then kind of placed their phone on top of it and had a hole that looked down. So they're kind of their playmat is in like this little dome of a cardboard box. Yeah, so you can get creative, but yeah, if um, you're interested, I guess the I was really intimidated the first time just like playing a webcam game, and then after you get it up, like you get your setup and you kind of work out the initial kinks, it's really easy and it feels pretty natural soon after that.
I think you need to sing a sea shanty, Mike.
Is the pirate deck.
Indeed. All right, so we're off here. So just like in game one, game two, we see Island go from Andy. Passes back. Robin passes right back. All right. So far. Oh, okay. So Withered Wretch here. Surprisingly good in a lot of matchups in pre-modern. So we see the end of turn Chain of Vapor.
Okay, so just a tempo
Yep.
chain of vapor.
Yeah. So Fruit of the Loam, Wake hasn't been played a lot in decks. Andrew Waku, who runs the monthlies, ran a Wake deck that he had some success with, but we haven't seen a lot of it in the monthlies. Wretch comes back down, and just it looks like Andy did get away with the pirate play there. Maybe got a swamp.
Okay,
Are we going to see another one?
probably. I mean, his deck's full of them, so
He's got a
all
whole
right.
a boatload, if you will.
Yes, yes. For the loam, thank you for the follow. All right, so let's
So
bring
he snaps
this.
the pirate. He's going to replay it.
This is this is a cut purse, Rishadan cut purse.
It might be.
Cut purse. I think it's cut purse footpad brigade. All right. And so he chose to sacrifice the withered wretch there, right?
Yep.
The mighty penguin. Thank you for the follow.
Priest of Gix. Very cool.
Cute little tempo play.
What's the second one he's playing? Is that a
The
Rotlung?
Rotling reanimator. So yeah, that
That
one
is good.
particularly good against the deck that makes you sacrifice stuff.
All right, Masticore.
Yeah, and I think the Masticore is just like a really important creature from out of Andy. It gives him two things. One, a source of removal, which is pretty light in the blue decks, as
Mhm.
compared to all the other things um, are tempo plays. This one can actually remove stuff. But then also a 4/4 creature is pretty formidable in this format, and so you might be able to find spots where he's actually closing out some damage. So we're getting a duress here. I see an annul. I think that's a stifle, and then the
Yep.
Rishadan Brigade. Uh,
Is it Brigand?
is that what it is?
It's either the Brigand or the Footpad. I can't tell.
Okay, so it's Brigand and not Brigade. Okay.
So yeah, he brought in a Knoll and Stifle.
Yep.
I
So
like.
the stifle, one thing that it can do is it can I always think about the Shepherd of Rot activation because there are just certain situations where you get with the zombie deck where you're calculating on using it to clock your opponent, and you're doing all the math based on that, and one stifle could really throw that off. So maybe that's the thought process, because I'm trying to think of the other triggers maybe that are really impactful that would be out of Robin's, and nothing's coming to mind. Can you think of anything that stifles really powerful against?
Maybe just the getting the Scion right.
Okay, yeah, the Dark Supplicant. Um,
Yeah.
that would be really exciting if you got to stifle that. Uh,
I mean, well played from Robin here, right? Obviously, leading with the duress and getting the annul, and then bringing down the oath of
mhm.
ghouls, which is just such a great card in this matchup.
Yeah, the
Are
Oath of
you?
Ghouls definitely caused a lot of problems in the last game. Just all the removal and tempo blocking just came back because of the Oath.
Yep. And we seen, what is it, an Unholy Grotto from Robin?
Yes,
It's a land we don't get to see very often.
uh, it's it's like a Volras stronghold, but only gets zombies.
Yeah. Yeah, Fruit of the Loam, not sanctioned by WotC, kind of its own thing, which has a lot of advantages. Um, so Robin's at 16, Andy's at 20.
Okay. And so the Priest of Gex came back from the Oath of Ghouls,
Yep.
and now we're putting a Withered Wretch back on top. So the Withered Wretch, because actually with the Massacre in play, Andy might find spots where he's able to just discard creatures and then get them back with Oath of Ghouls. But with the Withered Wretch, he's able to exile those creatures so that he's not getting those back.
Yep. There's just so much value here with with the Rotlong, with the Oath. I mean, Andy's just such a one for one kind of tempo deck that I think he's really struggling here.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I think it makes sense that just given why the annuls came in, it's because like without the Oath of Ghouls, like this game feels a lot different.
Yeah,
The
agreed.
I mean, Robin still has some synergies in terms of like he can unholy grotto like a Rotling reanimator and put stuff back, but it's not the same like when you have to skip a draw step um to put it as compared to just getting it back with Oath of Ghouls. So the difference between those two cards are pretty big. So discarding the Masticore. Andy's contemplating. Or it looks like we're talking about the stack in some way or another.
Yeah,
Oh, I think we are talking about Oath of Ghouls and Masticore Trigger. If he discarded a creature to go above it, and I think if Oath of Ghouls is anything like Oath of Druids, uh, then you would not get a trigger if it didn't meet the condition, and you would also need to meet the condition when it resolved. So there's two
yeah, it
points they
should
would
be.
check.
Yep, should check twice.
Yeah. So I mean, it's tough because this Mastercore's getting in there. Because this Priest that gets just blocks and then he gets a 2/2, right?
Yep.
And then he's just gonna get it back. That seems like almost like a
It just
situation
feels so bad.
that Robin's okay with. Okay, so here we see a cut purse, but Robin's got a lot of options. You could sacrifice a withered wretch. He opts to sacrifice a land. But yeah, it looks like Robin's in pretty good shape in this spot.
Yeah, it's not looking great for Andy.
So maybe we need to sing that shanty song to help the pirates deck out. Have you seen the videos how those are like trending on that like you take a modern song and you like piratize it? Have you seen that?
I have not. You'll have to sing one for me.
Well, I can't do the singing, but there's like I don't know if it's just one like group of guys, but I know I had seen one where they were singing like a modern day song. They changed it, and also they did one with do you know the game Sea of Thieves? It's like
I
a
don't.
it's like a video game. It's uh like kind of akin to like Elder Scrolls type stuff like Skyrim, but I mean it's
Nice.
pirate themed. But you play with a group of people. It's like kind of like an MMO in that sense. But they all got on a ship together, and then they started like singing this pirate chanty song. And I think some of the people in the group were just that were on the ship were not part of the group, and they're like, "What is going on here?" they're
Can I
taking the role playing to a new level.
can I tell you my favorite pirate joke?
Yes,
What is a pirate's favorite letter of the alphabet?
I've heard multiple versions of this, but I'll go with R.
Yeah, you think it'd be R, but it'd have to be the C.
Yes.
Sorry, everybody. Anyway, back to the game. So Andy's 12, Robin's 16. Um,
Xylophone
brutal,
followed
brutal, brutal.
right after that joke. So I think, yeah, I think that was what triggered it. Yep, it's confirmed. Ben said in chat. There we go. More pirate jokes will be coming. Well,
Oh, goodness.
all right. PDEs, P does MTG. Thanks for the follow. We'll just turn into a pirate joke stream.
Excellent. Yeah.
All
Starting
right.
strong.
Well, the multiple pirates have been cast, but it's almost kind of like you're treading water when you're doing that. So yeah, because at this point, oh gosh,
Oh, goodness.
two Rowling reanimators. Yep, that is.
And there comes the sweeping scoop.
Yes.
Ah,
So the 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 clerics deck definitely with the Rowling reanimator and the Oath of Ghouls definitely made the pirates sing a different tune. So those are
indeed.
some troublesome cards. So we'll tune in. We'll maybe get a little bit of input of what the players thought of the matchup and how things went. So let's switch over to that.
I cannot. Yeah, the Oath of
It's
Ghouls with
actually
the Oath of Ghouls with the Rotlang is too much. Too
yeah.
much to be. Yeah,
Um,
that was ugly.
Priest of Gix is actually kind of key too because it's a free card when you get the loop going, right?
Yeah, I
So
love
you
that
can
card.
like
Yeah.
you can keep developing your board. Usually otherwise you're just kind of returning the finger sacking. I would have to do over and over or blocking with. But because of Priest, I could keep recurring that and casting new spells every turn at the same
Yeah.
time. So that's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sweet little collection.
Yeah.
I just boarded out, so I was like, clearly you're gonna sack permanents for me, right? So I took out all of my own sacking tools, except Dark Supplicant, and then I cut one of the two Sign of Darkness, and
Okay.
I'm letting the Dark Supplicants kind of just be like, you know, 1/1 clerics in the deck, and sometimes I can go for this. I have one more in the deck, right? I have one in here. But it would be so feel bad to go for like the Dark Supplicant. If I don't have a Rotlang in play and I go for Dark Supplicant, then you Chain of Vapor,
Stifle.
right? Stifle, Chain of Vapor, Snap.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
There's a million ways to
yeah.
deal with the
But
dark.
I left one in because there are situations like I am leaving in my 4 Dark Supplicant, right? Um, so I felt that I should leave one in because there could be like end of turn scenarios where it's worth going for, stuff like that. So I still left it in, but otherwise, as you expected, I brought in 2 plagues, 2 Cabal Therapy, and I actually brought in a contamination. I know you're
Oh, okay.
kill some of my stuff, but I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
if even for just like 3 turns you're tapping for black, you're probably dead after that. Was my thinking.
Mhm.
So, when you brought in all the nulls because of goals is just that
Yeah.
rough. Yeah, I can see that.
I expected to lose to Wasteland, but instead I lost to Clerics.
Yeah,
The
so
Wasteland.
you were. So what was your thinking? You were afraid of.
Well, my other decks are definitely worse against Wasteland, but this one too, I just figured
Yeah.
you'd be wastelanding my Ancient Tombs and I wouldn't be able to play out Pirates and stuff.
So it's interesting
Yeah,
because
I thought you were going to be on Wizards.
I was so scared of your sleeve dues if I was on Wizards.
You were scared of my slivers, wow.
So here's the thing, like we both play Wasteland, right?
Yeah,
we
that is
both have
one thought
shaky
that
mana
crossed my
bases.
mind.
Yeah, so we would just waste each other out, but I'm looking to cast like a blue spell, and you're fine just casting like a random sliver every turn, right? So I just felt like mana-wise I would be behind, and I have 15 creatures in that deck, and you have 7 removal spells in your main, so I was just kind of like, oh, God. They're not
I
really...
know, yeah. Well, I'll be honest, I just wanted to play Pirates.
Yeah, that's a good reason. That's a good reason.
I wanted to get it in at least once, but yeah.
I'm really happy that it turned out in a way where this was the deck I played, because like I wanted to show that it is different than zombies, which I kind of got to show, I guess. And it's the one that's been talked about the least, I think, because the other ones are
Yeah.
like, oh, the other ones are good, and this is more just like, what is this?
Yeah. I think definitely the Vegas odds were on you to win this match. I got
Just a bit.
I got Mr. 12 Wasteland Spike out of the way first, so I'm happy with that.
The Wasteland really is your worst enemy, huh?
Well, mostly the other decks actually, because I am playing the 6 layer lands between the 3 decks. But
I didn't even think about the fact that I put 12 Wastelands in my deck. It just, I put it in, like, if there's a deck where I have the capacity for it, it's one of the first things I think about. I often think about it the other way around even. It's like, do I have to cut Wasteland when I build rather than, unless I'm building a combo deck, but.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Yeah, so I did bring in the 4 nulls. I brought in 2, and then I looked at your deck list and I saw you have a lot of, you had the Engineer Plagues, you also had like other stuff, I think.
I think against you, I have a Grave Pact and the Contamination. So against you now, I had 2 Oath, 2 Engineered Plague, and a Contamination. So I definitely think that's enough reason to.
Yeah, and I wanted to board out at least a couple of dazes. I probably could have boarded out all 4 dazes, but I felt like Black Vice, it's probably not the best against the Ritual deck.
Yeah, no, probably not.
Yeah.
If they're winning.
More cycles in the board, but.
Oh, wait, have they told us to like unmute them? We're not.
I unmuted them a while ago. I haven't heard a peep out of them, but.
Okay, let me.
Hey, Andy.
I haven't even.
Hey.
We were just letting you guys chat.
Yeah.
And typing pirate jokes in the chat.
Nice. Arr, maybe. Obligatory pirate accent.
Yes.
Well, chat, sorry to have bored you with this deck. I hope it was still entertaining.
Yeah, I guess I
Can
didn't.
you hear us?
I didn't realize, I guess, when we started, like how many interactions Robin's deck has against like the pirate sacrifice effects. He could just take advantage with like the Oath of Ghouls is a problem, the Rotling Reanimator is a problem,
very much.
and then like the combination like Wither. Like I was thinking maybe Oath of Ghouls you might lose your pirates and be able to replay them, but if he has like Withered Wretch, he's just going to exile him. So there's just a lot of tough situations.
I do that, but I felt like whatever. Get a 1/1 per turn. Like you saw that I boarded out my 4 strongest self-sack cards. Like I only kept in the supplicants because I was like, he's gonna sack my stuff for me. So yeah. I don't really need to play braids here. It's just like clunky 4-drop. So I mean, my deck is built around self-sacrifice. So I was like, if I can get a Rotling or an Oath into play, then I don't really give a shit if he makes me sack something. It's kind of what I want to do anyway.
So I played right into the plan.
Yes. I gamed it.
Yeah,
I was 100% thinking he was going to play slivers, by the way.
Game 2, I felt like I was doing the pirate thing. I was like, really, I mean, the goal of the pirates is to hit your lands. Like, I'm trying to like bounce your creatures most of the time and hit your lands if possible. So I kind of started out doing that, but yeah, I just kind of ran out of steam there. I think the Rituals and the Priest of Gigs just allow you to get on the board like so wide that it's like hard for me to control all those permanents.
Yeah, I was very, so my first hand, I mulled a hand that was kind of like the one I kept this time, because I thought you were on slivers, and I was like, there's no way I'm keeping a turn 2 first play against the hasty, quick little bastards. So I mulled to a dark ritual hand, and it did turn out well anyway. But then the second time I kept like 3 swamps and a wasteland, and I was like, oh, well, I have an oath and a rave, so I had an oath and a wretch and something else. So I was like, this is fine. I have lands if he wants to try to do the thing, you know. It did turn out okay.
Well, I'm glad we got to see the clerics do their thing. It was
well, not really. You didn't get to Dark Supplicant or Brave. So
that's what I came here for. I came here for Dark
that's
Supplicant.
That's the dream right there, yeah.
Well, as you guys saw, he had 2 Stifle, 4 Snap, and 4 Chain of Vapor. So Dark Supplicant was exceptionally bad at this matchup.
So would you guys talk a little bit about your thought process for bannings? Maybe Andy, you can go first.
Yeah, that was actually pretty interesting. I kind of banned. I mean, Pox obviously is his best deck on paper. I thought there was a world in which maybe he would actually let me have wild zombies because he knew that I was gonna ban Pox. And then he would try to play clerics versus my wild zombies because the Withered Wretch can kind of handle the graveyard stuff. But I assumed he was actually going to be on wizards and I was going to play the pirates, and he thought I was going to be on slivers and he was going to play clerics.
Yeah, I had a similar thinking where I felt like there was a world where he realized, okay, I'll ban zombies because it's that's a decent matchup against all decks, and it eats pox for breakfast, right? But then I was like,
yeah,
well,
that is the matchup you definitely wanted to avoid.
Yeah, so I feel like because Pox is good against his other 2 decks, maybe he'll ban Pox, and then I get to play against wild zombies with clerics, exactly like Andy was saying. But I didn't dare take it one step extra, so I went with a very simple ban of like, I'll ban his best deck, or best against my decks. But I fully expect the slivers because I feel like it goes so low that it would probably eat wizards. I think it's so quick, sneaks in under everything.
You want to play another match?
Patron Wizard loss doesn't really do much. Yeah,
we got some time.
Patron Wizard loss Pittsburgh is not that good against like 1-drops and 2-drops, you know, and 7 removal spells for Patron Wizard. It's just like I play 15 creatures. He has removal for half of them in his main deck. It was just kind of like, oh. So I decided I was going to play clerics versus Sliver. I didn't even think about this matchup at all, honestly. I was like, I don't think he'll play pirates. But maybe your slivers versus clerics matchup is bad enough that you play pirates anyway.
You underestimated my love of mono blue.
Yeah, there's definitely a fact that I didn't take it.
Yeah, I was just champing at the bit to play pirates.
Robin, I thought you followed Andy's Instagram. He's been posting pirates like all week.
I know.
I don't.
Kind of a clue,
yeah. When I last was on Instagram, it was not this year.
Fair enough. Yeah. Any other thoughts, guys, before we turn it over to the next players?
Sorry for the quick match. It was quite a drubbing.
That's all right.
I had fun.
Yeah, no, that was fun. Yeah.
I hope the viewers enjoyed the show, and I hope the next match is really interesting.
Yeah,
definitely looking forward to that.
I'm sure the Pirates will have another opportunity to shine.
Oh
so.
Yeah, they'll be back.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll let you guys go, and then we'll get things set up for the next match, so you guys can enjoy watching if you guys have some time. So.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Bye.
Okay, so let's quick jump over to our schedule. We can talk about what we have upcoming. Anthony Harrison and Phil Nguyen are our next match, and they will be getting set up. I'm going to quick run our player cards. So given this is our first week, here's some informational tidbits about the 8 contestants that we have. We had these as we revealed the players for the Showdown series, and here are some lighthearted facts, quote and faxes and quotes about our players. So, is there anything you want to say about any of the players that we have had tonight? We talked about some of the players we had last on Monday.
Yeah, I mean, I think just a lot of people were excited to see Phil being invited to the series because of some of the wild decks that he's posted online. He's played in the monthlies and also over on 90s MTG. Shout out to them. And Anthony hasn't played as much, given that he's trying to get his PhD or something, silly like that. So he hasn't played as much more recently, so a lot of players who are newer to the scene may not know him, but he's also very creative and a technical player as well. So I'm really excited to see their decks face off tonight. I think it's an excellent first week matchup.
Yeah. Yeah, the list that Phil submitted really hit a sweet spot for me. They hit the right note of like really new ideas, like that were really fresh, but then also they just feel like they could compete almost in like a normal monthly, and I think that is a really cool feeling where it's like you don't feel like you're sacrificing anything to be creative, and I think that's really cool. I think he hit a really good spot for a lot of his decks. So.
Pay attention to his list, folks, because he ran Griffin Canyon several months ago, and it spiked obviously because of Premodern. So it's only a matter of time until the cards that he's running in the series spike as well.
Yeah. All right. So we are going to take a quick intermission. We're going to run some of our ads for the supporters of the show. One thing I do want to talk about, I guess I'll bring that up so I can make a note. We have the Winter Blast is this weekend, and the Winter Blast is a pre-modern. It's a 1-day tournament. It's over webcam. It's hosted by Jared Doucette and the pre-modcast. And so you can see the information on that slide. It'll come back around if you didn't catch it the first time. But what you can do to sign up if you're interested in playing is there's the Teleria app, and you can log in online and create a profile and then register. And then you'll need to make sure that you submit a deck list prior to the event, which is on Saturday. So if you're looking to play 1 day of pre-modern and so there's like timed rounds. It's pretty close to like a normal paper tournament, but we're just doing it online.
Are you going to play?
I am.
Oh, nice.
I got the approval from my wife, and I'm playing on Saturday. So
nice.
And the other thing about the Winter Blast is the Walk stream will be doing commentary on it. So Gordon Anderson will be providing coverage of I think they're starting right away at round 1 and all the way through the top 8. So if you're maybe newer to pre-modern, don't have a deck ready, or maybe you don't have a webcam setup or something, and you're still interested in watching more pre-modern, there will be a stream on the Walk MTG channel.
Do we know if the pre-mod father himself is going to make an appearance and do some commentary?
I don't know 100% if it's confirmed, but I believe he will be. I'm not sure.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Okay, we're just going to try and set up our other players, but we should be back momentarily. We're just going to set things up, and we'll be back with our late night match. So don't go anywhere. You guys talk amongst in chat, and we'll be right back. So see you soon. Hey everyone, and thanks for sticking with us. Thank you for your patience. We were trying to iron out some tech issues, but we're here for our second match between Anthony and Phil, and we'll get to this quick. We'll jump over to the ban screen for what the players were looking at before they came into the match. So the decks that Anthony has available normally are Tortured Madness, Blue-White Wizards, and then Dig Site, and Phil has Blue-Green Griffin Canyon, Esper Zombie still, and then Sunder Nickfit. And so Anthony looked at Phil's deck, and he decided to ban the Esper Zombie Still deck. And then Phil decided to ban the Blue-White Wizards deck. So after that, Anthony decided to bring the Tortured Madness deck, and Phil has decided to bring the Blue-Green Griffin Canyon deck. So let's jump over these deck lists. We can give a quick rundown of what these decks are going to be doing, and then we'll be able to get our match started. So Tortured Madness. So this is the name is coming from Tortured Existence, which is a 1 mana enchantment that has the ability of pay black, discard a creature card from your hand to return another creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So the combination of that and Madness cards, then also with Squee and Krovokian Horror, provides a churning engine that can be used with Wild Mongrel and Zombie Infestation for card advantage. So this is just a grindy. I guess it's isn't actually a way to cast the Squee, so it's just a black green deck in essence. What are your takes on this deck, Flint?
So it's interesting because he didn't put survival in here, which would probably be the stronger card. I think he wanted to try something else, something different, but he did mention that survival would obviously be the better card. But it's a nice take on it. It's a combination between your blue green madness, but without the blue. So we try black instead. We have discard. We have zombie infestation, and I do like the addition of Kravik and horror as well. It's a card that we don't see as much in pre-modern. We've seen it some. But it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I'm excited.
Yeah. One thing to note is it's kind of cute is the Spore Frog in the sideboard, and it's kind of neat with that idea. I mean, I guess we've seen that in survival decks with Genesis, but you might have a looping situation to fog every turn against some creature decks, which that would be pretty cool. All right, blue green Griffin Canyon. All right, Flint, can you digest this one for us?
Okay, so this is a very interesting deck where you animate your own Griffin Canyon, and then you turn it into a Griffin, and then you use its own ability to give it +1/+1 and untap it, and then you attack for infinite damage. And that's done with a combination of cards. So there's Animate Land, there's Unnatural Selection. Is he running it's a little blurry, the Trickery Charms in this version?
Yes, I think so.
Yes. Yep. He's running Trickery Charm. Yep. Animate Land, Trickery Charm, Unnatural Selection, and Image Crafter are all the ways that he makes that happen. He's got crop rotations as well to make sure he gets his Griffin Canyons. He's got Cunning Wishes to make sure that he has his sideboard package of Animate Lands. And Trickery Charms. So it should be an interesting match. He ran this in one of the monthlies, and people were very excited to see it. So if you haven't seen this deck yet, it's very creative. It can actually win pretty fast as well if it's not disrupted at all. Unfortunately, Anthony does have some disruption, but I will shut up now. You all have waited long enough. Let's get into the games and see how these play out.
All right. Okay, so on the left we have Anthony Harrison. So he's playing the Tortured Madness that we talked about, and then Phil's on the right with the Griffin Canyon. So who's on the play here?
Phil's on the play.
Okay, and it looks like Anthony is mulligan twice. Okay, so the one thing about Phil's deck is it is a 3-card combo, but with one card being a land, uh, it's kind of like it's not vulnerable to too many cards. I mean, I guess Wasteland is a pretty fairly commonly played card that would interact with it, but it's not like it's vulnerable to a removal spell like Swords to Plowshares prior to going off. So it's not as vulnerable as most 3-card combos.
Can we just take a moment and comment on how beautiful those cards are? So we have the 2001 Arena Ice Age Island, Foil Island, and then the Portal 2
Yes.
Sleight of Hand, which is just gorgeous.
Yeah,
Foglio art. Love it.
I love that sleight of hand. All right, we're seeing a turn 1 Tortured Existence out of Anthony.
So far, so good.
Yeah, that's what he's looking for.
We have some love for the playmats in chat as well. We have the Foglio hybrid there. And then, of course, Yagmoth's Will. Who's the artist on Yagmoth's Will?
Ron Spencer.
Yes. Oh, now he's just showing off. He's got a foil Yavimaya Coast. I can see where this is headed.
Yeah, I don't have a foil option on my card fetcher.
Sorry, Phil.
Yeah, I'm sure Robin will get a chance to see this under Nick Fit deck. That deck will show up eventually. All right, we see a Mesmeric Fiend, so he's going to be able to look at the combo decks and then take a piece. Are there any ways in Phil's deck for him to remove that Mesmeric Fiend to get the card back if he finds a situation? Are there like bounce spells? I don't remember offhand.
I'm looking right now.
And Phil's taking this opportunity. He's in response casting Impulse. So one thing that it could do is if he's looking for the Griffin Canyon, that's a land card, and that won't be able to be taken by the Mesmeric Fiend. It also just could give him just find like 2 of the same cards so that Mesmeric Fiend can't take one of the effects. So like if he found like a second crop rotation, then that kind of protects him. But I guess you might want to wait then to see what he takes. So I don't know. Interesting to cast it beforehand.
I think you're right. I think he was digging for a Griffin Canyon because there's not one in his hand. But I think the only way he has to get it back that I can see right now with this kind of this cursory glance is to Cunning Wish for a capsize. That would do it.
Okay. Yeah, so Animate Land is one of the activators to turn the Griffin Canyon into a creature. Bring that up from Nemesis. So what is Anthony looking to do against the combo deck? I guess he has had Mesmeric Fiend to disrupt him a little bit. Are there other disruptive elements, or is he just trying to put on a quick clock?
I mean, he's got Cabal Therapy as well. And so now that he knows what's in Phil's hand, Phil has to be watching out for that. But really, I think at this point, he can kind of see where Anthony is, and he just wants to get some pressure on the board and close the game out.
All right, everyone, start doing your push-ups. We got Basking Root Wall in the house.
Yeah, push up lizard from Series 1.
Yes.
So crop rotation into a Griffin Canyon. Pretty good.
Yeah, there aren't too many things like is in terms of once it's in play, does Phil have to worry about anything out of Anthony?
I don't think so. I don't see any wastelands in Anthony's deck.
Okay.
No. No need to Cunning Wish for that Teferi's response.
All right, so we see Unnatural Selection. Funny enough, this is not the only deck in this tournament or with with Unnatural Selection.
No, it's not, and I love that so much.
Yeah.
Who was it that posted the Magic article on magic.com or whatever back in the day? Was it Brian David Marshall or someone posted this deck back in Extended or something along those lines? I don't remember who it was. Chat, shout out if you remember.
Was it about you saying about this combo?
Yeah, it was like an old school deck tech on Wizards on the website.
Not ringing a bell for me, but I feel like I might have read it at the time. Okay. What are we at for life totals?
So it looks like Phil is going down to 14.
Oh, okay.
And Anthony is at 19.
All right. So yeah, so now Phil has 2/3 of the combo, so he's just looking for a way to animate the Griffin Canyon. And so is it
Yep.
is it just animate land, or are there other effects to turn it into a creature?
Um, I felt like he has one more in the deck. Image crafter?
No,
Crafter
that
deck?
just changes a creature type.
Okay. What about Cross and Restore?
That untaps lands.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, Cross and Restore would do it, right?
No, because it needs to become a creature. Um,
But Cross Restore untaps lands, right?
yeah, so you're saying you
So the
change the
Restore can, yeah, you change the
yeah,
Restore's
yeah,
type
to okay, yeah.
to a Griffin.
All right, so these are two root walls that are coming in, and they both got pumped. So that's a quick clock. That's 7 damage. So Phil's at 7.
Yeah. Push up lizards, just moving in for the kill. All right, chat. Put your player allegiances aside for a moment. And which deck are you rooting for? Were we rooting for Griffin Canyon, or are we rooting for Tortured Madness? Shout out in chat. 90s MTG, you'll have to show us how to do polls. We're still new to the Twitch scene. We'll figure that out eventually. Mike, who are you rooting for? Which deck?
I don't know. I feel like I like the Tortured Madness, just what it's doing. So I don't know. I feel like my heart's with that one. I don't know. It just feels like the cool, fair, value, grindy deck. So that always has a place in my heart for it. So what about you?
Which one do you think I'm rooting for?
The combo deck.
The combo deck, yes.
It is a pretty sweet combo.
It is. So Phil's got what, an image crafter and
A natural selection. Yep.
Okay.
All right. So the image crafter holds off the mesmeric fiend from attacking because he doesn't want to give Phil back the animate land, and then a Rootwalla trades with it. So he pumped the non-blocked one. We should help 3. And
Ugh.
then we got a chain of Rootwallas going on. So we got the Tortured Existence, which will discard a Rootwalla to get back a Rootwalla.
Yep.
Up, but we see. I don't even know what card is that. Is that Arcane Denial?
It looks like it might be. Yeah.
So he's got. I think I'm showing. Maybe that is the same art. There's 2 arts on this card. Yeah, I think that is the one. So he still gets back the first one, and then he's able to take a damage and do it again. Oh, well, wait. Yeah, yep. But the one thing that Phil gets to do is, if he's just looking for the card that he gets off of Arcane Denial to try and get another animate land, and it looks like he did not find it. So
Nope.
All
right.
The lizards did him in. The hefty push-up lizards were able to carry the weight and help Anthony with a victory. Okay, so let's move over back to our decks.
All right.
Let's talk about sideboarding for this matchup. What do we see here? We have the Tortured Madness deck. So duresses against the combo deck seem pretty good. Those, and then how effective is Naturalize? Because it only gets. Is it just unnatural selection, or are there other? I think it's okay. So that doesn't seem super effective.
Doesn't seem as good. No, it's just whether or not you think he's going to bring in any from the board, and it doesn't really look like it. I mean, there's Tormod's Crypts that may come in on Phil's side. So if you want to have an answer to Tormod's Crypt, then potentially, but
Okay. What are your thoughts?
Phil's going to be on the play, so I don't know.
What are your thoughts for Anthony bringing in Spore Frog?
I actually like it, because then Phil has to answer it.
Yeah,
And
because
it's really hard for Phil to answer it too, because I think the only way that he has to answer it is what we were talking about earlier with the capsize, or he's got to have crypts to crypt the frog once it's in the graveyard, and before Anthony can use Tortured Existence to get it back. So I actually really like Spore Frog.
yeah, it would demand an answer from Phil, but he might already be bringing in answers. So let's see. I think Tormod's Crypt would come in. I think you bring Naturalize. It's good against Tortured Existence and Zombie Infestation. Though I can see situations where you don't really want it. I mean, like, if you think, all right, I'm just going to try and race, and he can set up his engine, like, because the Tortured Existence and the Zombie Infestation don't prevent Phil from doing anything. So in that light, I can see how maybe they aren't that important. But then on the other hand, you can also say, I can slow my opponent down a bunch if I'm getting rid of that one of those key cards. What do you think? Do you like Naturalize?
Oh man, it's so tough. I mean, I think it's such a good answer to Tormod's Crypt, but he can kind of get the crypts with a Duraz. But Phil's on the play, so Phil either plays it turn one or he draws it and plays it immediately. So maybe it is worth bringing them in.
Okay.
I don't know. The Duress for sure. The rest for sure. Maybe the Naturalize. I'm just looking at the list here too to see. So, caffeinated 22. Aaron says that said, or no, Cedric Troll. Can he go infinite life with the Beast?
With Ravenous Bala? I mean, it's not infinite. He can loop it, but that's not
Yeah,
gonna
you could definitely loop it.
it's not gonna do anything against the Griffin Canyon deck though.
Right. What do folks think? Would you bring in Naturalize here?
For the Griffin Canyon deck?
Yeah. I mean, I think the Griffin Canyon deck probably does. The question for me is whether or not Anthony brings it in for Tormod's Crypt and a natural selection. There's only one in natural selection, right?
Yeah, I don't think I'd bring it in from Anthony's
Yeah,
perspective.
probably just Duress. But yeah, I think Phil may bring it in. I mean, maybe he brings in, he's got two. Maybe he brings in one and leaves the other in the board for Cunning Wish.
Yeah, maybe. All right, let's jump back over to our match.
All right.
I'll reset the life totals.
So Mana says, I think sideboard Duress was a good trick for getting your deck okayed. Right. To be fair, you're right. We didn't check the sideboards at all. So very sneaky move.
So what turn on average do you think Phil is looking to go off? I mean, I guess he is looking at some form of disruption from Anthony, but
I mean, he could win on turn 3, right?
if he goes, can he win on turn 2? If he has turn 1 Yavimaya Coast Image Crafter, turn 2 Griffin Canyon. Oh no, I guess that would it would have Summoning Sickness. So yeah, he can win on turn 3.
Yeah.
Do you want to? Oh, are they still sideboarding? Or are they waiting for the go ahead?
I'll let him know that they can go ahead just to be sure. All right, and we're off here.
Are we trying to get a serial name for the Griffin Canyon deck? Is that what we're talking about in
Like it was
chat?
Kashi, yeah. Well, there's the turn 1 image crafter.
Yep. I remember this card because I used to have a ton of onslaught cards, and I would just do like 2-man drafts with my brother, and I still wouldn't even play this card. So Phil found a home for it. All
I
right,
love it.
we see the
Spoil
turn
image crafters doing work.
turn 1 duress, 2 sleight of hands, trickery charm, unnatural selection, and corrosion restorer. I'm gonna bring up trickery charm, another onslaught card, but I don't really remember all the modes. Target creature gains flying. Target creature comes the type of your choice. That's the one that will probably be chosen the most often. Or you can look at the top 4 cards and then put them back into your any order. So it's like a bad index. I guess it's instant speed. I wonder if Phil has ever cast Trickery Charm in that mode. It'll be interesting. I mean, I could see that. I could see that mode coming up.
Yeah, I think it definitely could. If you're looking for the last piece.
Do you think he's
Or
ever?
that image already got creature type covered.
Do you think he has ever had a Corrosion Restorer in play, and then changed it into a Griffin, and then gave it flying with the Trickery Charm so it could fly over?
Maybe. There's so many combinations here. Synergy. That's
Okay,
the name of this deck.
so sleight of hand was taken, but then Phil has a second one to play on his next turn. So if he gets like Corrosion Restorer in play, then he just needs the land, right? And then he can go off. And it'll be tricky for Anthony because like those are the cards he can't interact very well with. Because once they're in play, he can't do that much. Hope the image crafter gets to attack. We forgot about that mode.
the sideways mode.
Yes.
So 90s MTG is saying that standard wizards back in the day used image crafter to turn morphs into wizards. Was there a deck back in the day that did that?
No, what you used to do with image crafter, it wasn't that it was much that one, but it was mist form. I remember in limited I would use mist form mask, and you used to be able to change it into a wall, and then it wouldn't be able to attack. That was what I remember doing in limited to like use it as a bad blue pacifism, but
guess who's looking at the top 4 cards of their library and then putting them back in any order?
All right, well,
there
I guess
it is. Ask you shall receive.
The trickery charm mode has been activated. You used to be able to. I don't think you can anymore, but at the time when those cards were printed, I think you could. Or maybe now like wall doesn't like carry the baggage of like can't attack by the creature type by default. One of those rules changed, but I think at the time when those cards were first printed, I think you were able to choose wall. All right, 4 cards go back on top. So if we see the cards that he would want, what, like Living Wish, Crop Rotation, Griffin Canyon. All right, so here's an unnatural selection. But that's kind of redundant with the image crafter. This art on this card I think is sweet.
Yeah, I really like it as well. I remember pulling this from a pack back in the day and being like, I feel like there's probably something broken you can do with this card, but I don't know what it is yet.
All right, so this one says other than wall, but I don't think the onslaught ones did. But a duress was cast and it took an animate land. The other card is the Corrosion Restorer. All right, so we see Cabal Therapy takes that. But I mean, at this spot, it's not that bad for Phil because I mean, he still just needs a Griffin Canyon, and pretty much any way that he has to get the Griffin Canyon, he'll be able to play right away. So it would be Crop Rotation or Living Wish, the cards I can think of. But I guess the one thing is, given that Phil put unnatural selection on top of his library, like with the trickery charm. He rearranged the 4 cards, and now he's just draw going. I don't know if that means like the next 2 draw steps are going to be kind of underwhelming.
Well, he needs a canyon and he needs a way. He needs a way to turn it into a creature, right?
Oh, I guess.
Or he needs a way to untap the Griffin Canyon. So he's still 2 cards away from being able to combo off. And so now Anthony's going to try to pressure. That's a great way to do it, Arrogant Worm. So Phil's in some trouble here.
So this was before damage, so he's taking 3. Is that correct? Still going to 15.
Looks like Phil has himself at 14.
Okay. Okay, so here we see an end of turn Cunning Wish.
Yep.
And that can get an animate land, right? But the problem
Sure
is
can.
like, or he might get a crop. I think he gets a crop rotation here, right? Is that in his sideboard? Because the problem with the if you get animate land is
you don't want to keep it in your hand.
If you're not drawing the Griffin Canyon right away, then there's a Cabal Therapy in the graveyard. So
Yep.
if you're able to get one of the pieces that can get Griffin Canyon into play, maybe that's what you want to do.
Yep. Yeah.
Are there other cards that would be interesting here? Can't think of anything. I think crop rotation is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm looking at his list here. So he does get animate land.
Okay. Well, I guess, I mean, at this point, maybe you're willing to let him sacrifice a Wild Mongrel or Arrogant Worm to reduce the clock if he has to take it. Or maybe he's just hoping to draw a crop rotation or a Griffin Canyon here. It looks like he just has a land. So
Yeah.
the animate land is the only card in his hand, and Anthony knows that. So he's
Yep.
attacking at least for 6 a turn. The Image Crafter can get in the way of the Wild Mongrel 1 turn because he does have the unnatural selection. The one thing I guess is that makes the combo cost 1 more mana, but I don't think that'll be a problem for Phil. So the creatures are coming in for 6.
Oof. This is rough.
Right. So and now we're sacrificing Wild Mongrel, presumably to name animate land.
Seems like a pretty good choice.
Yes.
Oh no. Come on, Griffins. I think this might just be game. Yeah.
So then he plays another Wild Mongrel. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's writing's on the wall here.
He's got not dead next turn because the Image Crafter can block a Wild Mongrel. So he kind of needs to go runner, I think.
We got a lot of interesting serial names in the chat here. Cruncharoos, Puffins.
There's no Griffin cereal.
Puffins is close.
Yeah.
So there's the block on the mongrel.
Okay.
Down to 4. What's the follow-up here? Is it a fiend?
Zombie infestation. Looks
Looks like
like
it
it.
is. Yep. And a spore frog.
Okay.
Yeah, that's GG's.
Yeah, I don't think there's that much that Phil can do, especially with that little spore frog. Two
What
more
did he?
animate,
Oh,
two more animate
my.
lands for Tron.
Oh no.
All right.
You to go ahead and unmute him and we can listen to him talk.
Yeah. Let's jump over to
All
their
right.
screen.
A lot of cheap like chump blockers, and then the discard is hard because for the most part, like most of the combo was assembled. It's just that after like 2 pieces, or I guess 3 discard spells, is a little too much for a 3-card combo.
Yeah, and there's also the fact that it wasn't until like this afternoon. I guess I can't say that I did literal no prep, but I was like kind of thinking things through. And like I said, I asked again. I was like, does it get flying or unblockability? Like,
No.
anything out there?
If it did, I think this would probably be a much higher tiered deck.
But yeah, I was thinking, I was like, okay, so I either just need to have chump blockers, or in the case of like Image Crafter and Unnatural Selection, if I can just get a Spore Frog loop going, then I should be good. But then I
Yeah.
didn't look at your wish board, so I didn't know if you had some things that were really if that would have broken that up.
Yeah,
quite a
I
bit.
was worried about the spore frog, but there's really only 2 answers to that. Is that I have a stifle, and then what I have done a few times, because I played this in a monthly once, and if you get the Corrosion Restore with Threshold, then you can actually generate infinite mana. And if you get to do that, then you can Cunning Wish for the capsize in the sideboard and just bounce all the permanents.
Yeah, that's
so
sweet.
I've done that once or twice, which has been pretty fun. But obviously that's like then like a 5-card combo that when it happens, then it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think the combo is super sweet. I feel like I feel like I first saw it in like an Inquest or a Scry or a it's like some I remember reading about it like a long time, like maybe like when Image Crafter, or like when on like maybe Invasion Block, because I think that's because Unnatural Selection came out in Apocalypse, right?
Yeah, Apocalypse.
So I might have read about it a long time ago, and I've always thought Griffin Canyon was like such a cool land and had such a cool thing. But I'm excited to see somebody rocking it in Premodern.
Yeah, I've tried it actually. It was originally one of my Legacy pet decks, and it's been pretty fun in Legacy, but it's probably even less competitive there. And so it's been fun. I've tried a few different builds in Premodern. I think this more control-y build is best, but that's not really saying a ton. But I think it's still really fun. Like it can actually surprise quite a few people out of nowhere. So
did you think that Wizards was a worse matchup against you than Tortured Madness?
I think with the Wizards, because I think there's like 1 or 2 creatures that can tap a creature, right? And then
there's I didn't even think about that. Yeah, the
Feto Grifter.
The Stormscape Apprentice, and then but then there's also the Apeto Grifter.
Yeah, that can be tough. And then also,
but yeah. So if I tap it down, is there no way to you would need like another Griffin Canyon, right?
Yeah, basically, I would need 2, and then also like Swords to Plowshares can be a beating. Again, if you have 2 Griffin Canyons, then you can actually untap one in response, and then you would gain infinite life, which I've done before too. But it's just a tricky matchup. I mean, you have very cheap interaction, very cheap creatures. So I think that will make it tough. But the problem is like I really want to play the Sunder Nickfit deck, because I think that one is just like really fun and interesting. But
good.
the
That's what I thought
problem,
you were gonna play. That's what I was expecting that one.
yeah, the problem is that both of your options would have so many basics that
Yes.
I'm unmuting them now. And like I was just like, if I gave Dig Site like a bunch of free basics, that just sounds like a disaster.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I kind of built all my lists around not wanting to care about Wasteland.
Yeah, that makes
Just because
sense.
in the monthlies I've just gotten just wrecked by Wasteland decks.
Yeah, that makes
And so
sense.
I was just like, I'm gonna come in with 3 lists that just do not care about Wasteland at all. And so yeah, I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, I was slightly punished in our first game because I crop rotated for the wasteland, and I should have done that the turn earlier, and that
Hmm.
would have given me at least maybe one more turn. And then I did the thing you're not supposed to do, and I looked at the top card, and it was the Cunning Wish I needed to combo off, and you were
Hmm.
tapped out at that time, so that would have
Yeah,
been exactly what I needed. And so,
yeah,
those things are tough.
they are. So does is it Sundernick that has the Glacial Chasm?
Yeah, it does. I
That
thought that would have been a really good card in this matchup, but I was just
that's what I was referring to with the triple time lock, but I guess I forgot which list that was in.
yeah,
But
it's in the
Glacial Chasm is so good. Just it's such a good card that like if the opponent doesn't have Wasteland, you can just hide behind it for like sometimes a really long time.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like that deck definitely has a better matchup against the one that you're playing, but I
Mm,
was just like the risk is pretty high that if I run that and you're on the dig site, it's just going to be like even worse of a blowout.
yeah.
But I also feel like Griffin Canyon could theoretically race dig site at least in the first game because it can go off turn 3.
Hmm.
I had built a Turbo Griffin deck that I ran in the last monthly that could combo off pretty reliably turn 2, but as you found out, like just making a vanilla infinitely large creature doesn't really get there against a lot of decks.
Yeah,
So can you guys hear us?
we can.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So we had a lot of love in chat for Sunder Nick Fit. There were a lot of people who wanted to see it tonight.
I'm sure it'll get its chance to shine, but I do want to talk
Yeah.
about this matchup a little bit. One thing I thought that Phil, that your deck does actually pretty well against discard because you can play to the board most of your like combo pieces. Like the Griffin Canyon's a land, and then the other cards, a lot of portions you have like creatures or the enchantment, and then you just need the animate land for the third one. So, in terms of how Anthony's deck is set up, I think you actually can fight the discard pretty well. It's just kind of how you draw your spells if you draw them in the right order or not. So
Yeah, and actually, it was kind of funny because I keep on forgetting to put Library of Lang into this deck because it would like fit really well in these discard matches, which have been traditionally very difficult. And I put them in my Sunder Nickfid deck, which I spent a lot more time building. And then after I submitted it, I was like, shoot, I totally forgot about including that into Griffin Canyon. But maybe in the next monthly.
yeah, we were talking about Trickery Charm, and I was reading the modes of it, and um, I was like, I wonder how often Phil has ever looked at the top 4 with this card, and then you did it like immediately right after I said that. And
Yeah,
have you
I
ever
mean,
given a creature flying with it?
honestly, that's like the best way to combo off with Griffin
Yeah.
Canyon.
Okay.
It's like it's technically a 3-card combo, but you win generally with 4 cards, which
Okay.
is not really selling the combo deck that well. But giving it flying really does help.
Sure. Okay. So all 3 modes are useful on the Trickery Charm then.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very versatile card. But yeah, games tonight were fun. It was hard to get past the discard, but it was definitely cool to see the Root Walla chaining in the first game.
Yeah, we gotta because I always like a good root walla, and so we got to see 3 of them in the first game. So that was pretty fun to close out.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But then yeah, we were excited about the idea of like Spore Frog coming in because it's kind of interesting, yeah, that like it's just like another disruptive piece that Anthony can have for the combo that makes your life more difficult. So
Yeah, we were talking about that after the game. Spore Frog is definitely a very tricky creature to get around.
Yeah, was originally playing with a list that was like rocking like 4 Living Wishes. So just being able to grab some of these bullets out of the board and just like even have access to a Spore Frog lock game 1 was pretty good, but I couldn't get that list kind of as solid as kind of like this more just kind of straightforward beatdown
Mhm.
list is. But I was happy to at least get a little bit of mileage, show off the tortured existence engine a little bit in game
Yeah.
1 with 1 root wallet getting countered and then just discarding another root wallet to get it back.
Yeah.
That was pretty sweet.
Yeah. All right. I think you guys did you talk about like the decks that you banned? I know you were talking about after you had banned about which decks you were thinking about bringing, but did you guys touch on why you banned the decks that you did?
I touched on it a little bit, but we might have been muted. It might have been
Mhm.
like just during the shuffle. Some people on Monday night were talking about like, oh, they're probably going to ban this, which means that I can play this, and I'm gonna next level them. And think about, for me, it was just as simple as I hate playing against standstill,
Okay.
so I banned a deck. The other 56 cards in the deck were kind of immaterial. I just hate playing against standstill, even though I have a decent record against various standstill decks in the monthlies when I was playing several months ago. But that pretty much was it. I was expecting either Wizards or Tortured Mandus to get banned, just because I think those are I think it's clear that those are kind of the more tuned and like reliable decks that I've brought to the fore. So I wasn't really surprised to see Wizards get banned.
Okay.
Yeah, I basically banned Wizards. We talked about this because it just had a lot of cheap interaction and disruption. I think it's pretty good against Griffin Canyon because it plays a lot of Source of Plowshares, a lot of tapping creatures, and just small disrupting creatures. And I said that I think I could outrace Dig Site with Griffin Canyon. I was obviously worried about Tortured Madness, but um, yeah, no, it's a good deck.
Chat is trying to figure out what the best serial name for your Griffin combo deck is. Um,
I hope they come with a good one.
yeah, they
I think
said.
It's
that's like
it's sad that Cocoa Puffs is already taken because that has a bird mascot.
Well, they were talking about puffins. Puffins is it's like a bird. What?
It's an Icelandic
Yeah,
coastal
yeah,
bird.
yeah. So like, and that's a cereal. It's like, so I think that's what they're opting for. But ultimately, it's up to you, Phil. If you find a cereal that you really like, that. But I think you called it like Stewie Griffin combo before or something like that, which I thought.
that was some Andrew Walker marketing,
Okay.
because one of my favorite facts about Griffin Canyon, besides that it's on the reserve list, is that the illustrator of Griffin Canyon is actually Stuart Griffin,
Oh, okay.
which I think is kind of funny.
Nice.
All right. Is there anything you guys want to add, or anything that you're looking forward to later down in the series?
There are just a lot of decks in this series that I'm hoping kind of get their due. I do really want to see Phil's Sunder Nick Fit in play. I was like totally expecting him to bring that out tonight. I was wondering if maybe like Griffin Canyon was like too much of a known quantity. He's kind of known for it, and he brought this just crazy Sunder upheaval Black Vice deck to the fore. And so I was like, I went in tonight thinking that I was going to play against that. And so I feel like I dodged a bullet. I have no idea how good that deck. I have no idea how good that deck is. I still feel like I dodged a bullet, and I'm excited to hopefully see it played later in the series.
Yeah, I'm similarly excited. This is just week one, so I'm excited to see the rest of the players and have a chance to play against everyone, because everyone's really brought some great ideas to the format. So I'm just excited to see them in action.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
also want to give a huge shout out. Like, this is just a really great group of players. I had a lot of like shipping issues. TCG Player really kind of screwed me on some of the cards that I was ordering for my decks. And like I posted in the group chat, and like multiple people immediately said like, "Give me your address. I'll loan you some cards out." So just really great sportsmanship, really great, just a really great group of people that's been assembled. So I'm excited to see where the series goes.
Yeah.
We're excited to have you. I mean, we obviously pick who we pick for a reason, and you all have been awesome in terms of your support to the community, your ideas, and we're excited to see how the series plays out as well. So thanks for being here.
So, all right, have a good evening, everybody.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Enjoy.
Good
See y'all
games,
later.
guys. Good games.
Okay, I now have our schedule. We can talk about a little bit about the upcoming matches we have on Monday. We have Robin will be playing against Aaron for our first match, and then Phil against Brian Manolakis will be the later match. So I'm trying to think if there's anything I mean, just the Sunder Nick fit. I guess that's the forefront of my mind, and so I'll keep talking about that till Phil eventually gets that deck in his hands and on camera. So the Sunder Nick fit is the thing I'm thinking about. Is there anything you're looking forward to on Monday?
I'd kind of like to see the Mind Slicer deck have a shine. I have a feeling it might get banned because it's probably Mana's strongest deck, but that would be a cool one to see. It'd be interesting to see, some of what I think a lot of us consider to be the more powerful decks face off against one another. So maybe if we saw like a Jund Rock versus Pox or something along those lines, that might be a fun one to watch as well. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes.
All right. And with that, I just want to thank everyone who was able to tune in. Thanks for sticking with us through our technical difficulties between the match. We'll hope to have all those things ironed out for the future episodes. But thanks for the support, and we hope you're enjoying the series. And we will see you on Monday. And until next time, take care.
Bye, everybody.